Are you thinking about doing real estate investing here in Hawaii? In this video, I will discuss the pros and cons of doing Hawaii real estate investing and what are the things that you should look out for. Stick around and for more details. Let's rock! Alright guys, like I mentioned today, we're going to discuss about the pros and cons of Hawaii real estate investing. For those who don't know me, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Cachola Prather. I'm a licensed realtor here on Oahu. I'm here to assist you in your home or selling process, or if you just want to learn more about moving over here to Hawaii. In this video, we're going to discuss about the pros and cons of Hawaii real estate investing. Let's jump right into it. Pro number one, appreciation. Hawaii, like I've said before in previous videos, is one of the most unique places to own a home in the United States, as there's a high demand to live there with low supply. And once you own a place here, your equity is going to build up exponentially a lot more than living over in the United States and the continent. And even with the rates as they are right now here in late 2022, you can still do a HELOC or a cash refi in the future. Because there's a lot of other foreign markets that are interested over here rather than the continental US, you won't see a crash going on because of that high demand. If you want a massive return in your home, I'd highly recommend you stay in it for at least 5 to 7 years. And if you are thinking about upgrading or at least selling it off and moving to another place, I highly recommend taking that route. Pro number two, many investing options. You could pretty much do a bunch of investing options here in Hawaii, listing from BRRRRs, flips, wholesaling, buy and holds, and sub-twos. It all comes down to finding the deal and finding to make sure the numbers make sense. But with Bill 41 coming up in late October, the minimum days is going to come from 30 to 90 days minimum. So it's going to impact Airbnbs on Oahu, but not as much on neighbor islands. If you're starting out investing on your own, I highly recommend you pick one option and you stick to it, master it, and then move on to another one. Pro number three, collaborative meetups. A lot of the meetups that you find here in Hawaii are nothing like no other than on the mainland. Here we have the spirit of Aloha and we find ways to get better, not bitter, and we collaborate to help each other in a win-win situation. You could attend Future Flipper over in Vegas, where you can meet hundreds of investors across the US. While over here in Hawaii, you could attend Kamohai and Tristyn Kalama's monthly meetup of deals at Aloha. There's also Kina Nisley's meetups, WNN Properties meetup at the park. There's also Kiko Capital's weekly morning meetups on Zoom, because at this point in time, now is a great time to learn about the market and the business. Great place to meet other people, to build connections, so that way you can find JV partners and other connections that you need for your projects. A lot of people in Hawaii like to work with people who they know, like, and trust. And here in the island, it's a lot smaller than Los Angeles or the state of California. Over here in Hawaii, everyone knows everyone. So if you do a great job, everyone knows it. But if you do a crap job, everyone knows it anyway. When you go to these meetups, always have a game plan and provide a lot of value. Even if you're inexperienced, have a positive attitude, ask questions, and be there to help each other out. Pro number four, many lending options. There are a good amount of hard money lenders across on the state. I highly recommend Capital, which involves really great funding for flips, buy and holds, ground construction. For hard money lenders, all they care about is if the deals make sense and if the numbers make sense. They don't care about your credit history, your work history. As well, for private money lenders, these will be the people that include your friends and family, have a lot of money to help fund your project. And for the most part, this is how you utilize other people's money. Pro number five, you can make great money. When you're making money over in the mainland, you'd probably get at least $10,000, $20,000 profit. But here, because Hawaii's value is super high, with an average home of over $1 million and condos over $500,000, you can expect your ARV and profit to be a little more higher. Now, I recommend that you work with partners that are much more experienced than you, so that way, one, you know how to do the project, and two, you get a piece of the profit, so that way you make it a win-win situation. On top of that, you'll have more partnerships and more meetings in the long term. And even though the market is correcting itself a little bit, now is a good time for sellers to be realistic about how they're going to go about it. Now, bigger buyer tip. You wonder why there's credit companies on commercials these days? It appears that there's going to be more demand for more buying homes. When you're working on a deal, if you can't meet the price, find a way to meet the terms. And if you don't have cash, learn how to source the deals. Alright, that concludes the pros. Now, what are the cons of investing here in Hawaii? Con number one, permits are slow. We have another source of Hawaiian time in the DPP, and things are going to at least 6 to 12 months just to get one permit, and that is hurting a lot of projects across the island. Now, this can hurt yourself because if you are working without a permit and they get caught by the neighbors, you gotta stop work, you get fined, and then the interest payments on the hard money lenders, you still gotta pay them every month until the project is done, so that will impact your bottom line. Con number 2, it's not like the reality shows. When you watch the stuff on HGTV, they show you how the process went from start to finish with all the shiny objects going on, from befores and afters. But what they don't tell you is the strenuous process of making sure they get the funding, make sure you meet the deadlines, make sure they have their contractors, their lenders in order, make sure everything is loaned, making sure that all the fixes are done and are corrected. HGTV is never gonna tell about the times that they had to fire the contractor or the hardships, or if they were broke as heck, they had to do something to help with their down payment and the earnest money deposit. Just remember, HGTV, what they put in 30 minutes, take it a lot of months. And basically every process that you do in every project, it takes time. Con number 3, it's not the mainland market. When you're over in states like Wyoming, Tennessee, or any average state, it's a whole lot easier to find homes and make a profit, but it will be minimal, and yet you'll be able to get your supplies, your comps in order. But here in Hawaii, when you go inside a community, one house is not like the other. It's not like a planned community, which is very rare. But the beauty of it is, once you find a place that you could work on, you solve that problem, now you're able to give the best value you can to make the best profit. And keep in mind, because you're solving a bigger problem, the ARVs are going to be different, as well as the appraisals. For example, there are 2 houses. One is next to the street, and the complete opposite side is right next to the marina. And both of them are not going to be alike in the appraisals, because both of them are different. You also need to look at the features, the windows, the appliances. Are they similar across the radius? And keep in mind that because the market is changing a little bit, the comps from 6 months ago may not work. You might have to look 1-3 months, depending on the certain house you have. Con number 4, interest rates and payments. The good news with working hard money lenders, they will fund 100% of rehab and 80% of the ARV. And that's where you fund the 20% coming in from private money lenders. But here's the downside. Messing up the ARV in Hawaii is different from the mainland. If you mess up in the mainland for $10,000, it's not going to hurt that bad. But Hawaii, if you mess up the ARV by just a little bit, you're costing about $80,000, $100,000 or so, and that can hurt your pocket for at least a year. With the federal rates raising up, hard money lenders have to raise their rates as well. And usually for your first project, they will charge up to 9 to 11%, but it can all depend on who you're working with. The biggest costs on a flip are purchase costs, realtor's fees, financing, interest, and rehab. And keep in mind, if you're doing a buy and hold or a BRRRR method, there's volatility and a correction going on. There's a constriction of capital, so that means there's only going to be so many people that are going to get approved for credit to help with the listings, resulting in less volume and less transactions. Con number 5, being greedy is not strategic. Hawaii is a great place to gather in spirit and be able to collaborate and help each other out. So in this case, when investing, this is why I highly recommend working with a GV partner. And this is why, if you are an experienced investor, be able to share your knowledge and help each other out. Don't be such a greedy investor to a point where everything is all on your own and you want to take away everything by yourself. If you're here to invest and then not help the Kama'aina that really need the homes, that is a huge problem. We have a lot of Kama'aina families who probably have a bunch of great credit, but probably cannot afford the right amount of home because they're getting priced out. And as a result of that, there's a lot of us Kama'aina that are leaving over to the mainland. If you're planning to sell your home, don't just sell it just to get the cash. Make sure that you have a plan B in hand. Are you getting another home in Hawaii or another place? Because today's market is not the same as COVID, I highly recommend you look at your ARV, your rehab costs and everything. Because the numbers don't lie unless you lie about the numbers. So the goal is not to get the whole big profit, but be able to learn something from the project, but to help your partners out, your contractors out, and everyone involved, including the people that you're trying to get the home for. And that wraps up the pros and cons of Hawaii real estate investing. If you guys got a lot of value in this video, please hit the like, subscribe button down below. I would definitely appreciate that. And if you're thinking about living over here on Oahu, I am a licensed agent with EXP. I'll be glad to help you in your buying, selling, or renting process. I got my contact information down below, and feel free to follow me up on my social media platforms so that way I can give you the best value possible. And that wraps up everything. My name is Joey Cachola Prather, powered by EXP Realty, and I'll see you guys soon. Let's rock!